What's going on, guys? Ryan Fernandez here, and today I'm super pumped up, super excited because I have my very first guest here. You're listening to the Leveraged Linguist podcast. The way we interact and do business has completely changed. It's important more now than ever to foster your connections. And my boy here that was going to be speaking a little bit, I've known him for a little over probably 3 years, and we weren't introduced. I just went up to him randomly at some networking party in Oakland, and here we are. I consider him to be one of my mentors, one of my coaches through the many transitions I've had in my career. And I hope, what he has to share serves you in some way. So a little bio about my buddy here, Jerry Rivera. He's an experienced private banking officer with a demonstrated history of working with high net clients. He's skilled in high touch client service, commercial business banking, and private banking, providing complex financial solutions. He also builds valuable relationships in the community, and he's a strong all around banking professional with the determination, will, and ambition to see tasks through from start to finish. All right. So you're on camera here, Jerry. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, good morning, Ryan, and good morning to anybody watching these videos. Having a great week. What can I say? We're busy here, and we've got a lot of exciting projects and clients out here that are looking for ways to try to finance and fund their projects. So
Nice,
we're
nice.
here
So,
in this trying time and trying to figure out who the next client's going to be.
absolutely. So, tell me a little bit more about here. You're in Vegas.
Yes, a native of California, born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. And, being an empty nester now is an opportunity to kind of reevaluate and, maybe make some changes in your life. And I've been in the banking industry for so long that I thought it'd be a nice change to come out to Las Vegas to put deals together.
Well, Vegas is definitely a big change from California, although it is a neighboring state. And just like you, I've also been in the banking industry and I have made a transition over to the insurance world. So let's get right into it. So tell me, you've done a lot of lending. I've also done lending for consumers as well. How, just a quick recap, how does the conventional lending process usually go?
Well, I mean, to say it nicely, it's a long and drawn out process that is very, very black and white. So anybody that's gone through that understands that there's really not a lot of wiggle room. If there's something maybe that's a little bit of a surprise or a hiccup in a deal, either it fits in the box or it doesn't. And that's kind of the world that you live in out there. And so it works for some folks, but there are a lot of people that don't always fit in the box. And that's where they're kind of left out from conventional banking, conventional financing, and are always looking for other ways to try to figure out how to get a deal done. Now, it doesn't always work that way. It's not always somebody that doesn't have a good FICO. It could be a timing issue. It could be a structure issue. So there's a lot of different things, but conventional has been a great way to learn the business. And I think that as you gave my introduction, I think it really emphasizes on what I do for clients in terms of this is not about a transaction. This is about building with clients, growing with clients, creating wealth that goes beyond this generation. So a lot of the people that I do business with, we've done multiple transactions on the same piece of property. I've helped the same families continue to grow their real estate portfolio. So this is really about extending your family, and again, creating those connections with people. And that's kind of what I think I bring to the hard money side of the business. The private money side is I bring the relationship side because I've been in commercial banking and private banking for so long that I understand what people need. And I think the biggest thing that I can do differently is how to not only communicate with people, but empathize with people, but at the same time get the results that they need, close the business.
That's true. So results is very, very important, right? Because somebody can have, the reputation of, being the number one in their company. But I think what comes down to it is once you build that rapport with somebody, can you get the results that they're looking for? So that kind of segues us to this next question that I have for you, in that you've experienced lots of clients, so have I, where you have great relationships, great rapport with them, but because of their unique situation, and like you're right, it may not just be about they have bad credit or good credit. It's just simply the particular bank doesn't have the appetite for it. So we get into this private equity hard money lending. What would you say is the biggest difference when explaining to clients and referral partners where conventional lending is not the right solution for it?
I'll try to answer that as best as I can. I think the biggest thing for me to explain to people is that we're a solution. And that's the biggest thing that I think that weighs on me every day when I come into work, is that I know we provide a solution. We're not the guy where there's 10 other guys on the same block doing the exact same thing we do. We are a niche. We provide a service, and again, because of the service that we provide and I think the speed in terms of how we can deliver and the resources that we have, that's what you're getting. You're getting that piece. And with a bank, you're getting something different. You're getting something that is going to be affordable. You're getting something, again, that's set up to look a certain way in a box. But again, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. So for us, we do not feel that we have to compete with banks. We do not have to compete with anybody, because what we're really trying to drive to a client is that, do you have a project? Does that project make sense? Is there enough space in that project for you to make the money that you want to make? Okay. Can we be a viable partner to make that happen? So, again, we go back to, we're expensive. And if a client feels that we're too expensive, it's probably not the right thing for them. We're probably, spending or losing $20,000, $30,000 on a real estate deal. If your margins are that tight, then I'm glad we had that conversation. I may be able to save you from from any further turmoil down the road.
Wow. Okay. So you bring up probably a really great question that for someone who has even heard of the space, private equity, hard money lending, that's the first person that kind of comes up in their mind is, well, the bank, they're offering me like 8%, they're offering me 4%. You guys are like double, triple that. So I think you bring up a good point is people who come to you, they're not necessarily the last resort because that would be the deal not happening at all. But it's the last stop in, do you want to make this happen? Right?
It's
Because
it's
that,
absolutely like that. Could I just give a real quick analogy that works out really well, that seems to
sure.
work out with most people that we explain this to? We don't consider ourselves special in any way, but we do look at the situation more often than not as, most clients are coming to us and they are in the middle of the ocean on a life raft, and we're the big U.S. Coast Guard ship that's coming by, and asking them, hey, can we help out? Would you like this this lifesaver? We'd love to throw it to you. And a lot of people are reluctant to say, hey, we're not sure, or this doesn't make sense. We can get this there, or the bank's offering me this. But we see all these things, but the reality is that it's all about performance. There's a lot of people that say they can offer you something, and they don't deliver. So in the analogy that I gave you about the U.S. Coast Guard, we're willing to throw you a life vest or a lifesaver, because if you look around, there's no other ship around. There's no one else here to save you. So you have to decide, do you want to be saved by us or not? And I really, really believe in what we do. I think we're a great vehicle for folks that, don't have the paperwork. It doesn't have to necessarily be bad credit. They don't have all the paperwork, or maybe there's no tenant in the property and the bank wants to be able to show leases. There's a lot of variations that we can look at. The reality is that as of now, our rates on some of the things are almost as competitive as conventional money right now. I'm
Hmm.
seeing people doing real estate loans around 8% right now. So we're around 8 or 9% on the low end, and you're talking private money. So I mean, that means that you go through somewhat less hoops, and we could probably get it done in faster than some of these banks are, taking anywhere from 30 to 90 days to close on a deal. We can close in 4 days on some things, and And it just depends on the complexity of the transaction. But our goal is to help our clients get to the next step because they've run into a jam, a roadblock, something that they weren't anticipating. Our job is to get them past that so they can start thinking about how do we create a long-term solution now that we're past that roadblock that Jerry and HML were able to get us past, if that makes any sense.
Got it, got it. So you bring up a couple of things there as far as what makes HML unique. Here in California, I have heard of another private money lender, Rubicon Mortgage. They're locally here in the Bay Area. So what can you tell me about HML that makes you unique from the other private money lenders out there?
Well, I think given my understanding of Rubicon, I think they have a great program. I think they're really good at what they do. The thing with them is their business model is different than ours. Our business model is built on being able to lend in more than just one market. A company like Rubicon tends to stay in California. Their license is in California, so they tend not to do any deals outside of that footprint. Although they do make exceptions. For us, we have the capacity to lend in 50 states. So if you have a transaction and you're all the way in Florida, we can try to figure that out. We've also done deals out of the country. So if you have something in Mexico or you have something in Cabo or South America, we'd love an opportunity to take a look at it. So for us, I think it allows us to be able to be a participant in almost all transactions because region doesn't prevent us from doing that. The other thing that's great because of our reach in the lending market, we have access to hundreds of funds. When I say hundreds of funds, that's comprised of hedge fund money and various private sources. So that just gives us an opportunity to better serve our client with more, more offers or more ways to structure their deal. And I love that. Working for a bank, you have one or two options, and you can't go, hey, Chase, what can you do? And I can present it. This gives me a lot of flexibility. I can be very agile, and I think from a client standpoint, as their deal keeps evolving and changing, because they're trying to figure out how to do it, I can evolve with them. And I think that's a great marriage.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You're right. I think agility is very important. There's a time and place for certain individuals or companies that are only licensed in certain states. It's highly regulated, right? The lending industry. But if you say you can do lending not just in the U.S., the 50 contiguous or 48 contiguous states, but also, in a lot of places where you see expats and things of that nature, that's a huge advantage. So speaking of that, I have a segment here called What's on Your Desk. So this is something that you're currently working right now, this morning, not last week or a month, because things change constantly. So what do you currently have on your desk?
So right now we're just working pretty diligently on a purchase. I can start from where it originated from, or I can go right into the deal. But I am working on a purchase right now. It's a commercial property. It's actually lower level mezzanine is actually going to be a restaurant, and the second and third floor are office buildings, offices in the building. It's a single structure, and again located in Kentucky. We're helping the client because they are having a hard time trying to find financing given the circumstances. And I think in telling you a little bit more about this deal, you'll better understand why hard money is a better way or the only way for this client to go. There's currently a restaurant in the lower level, and that restaurant is operating there on a month-to-month lease, but plans to close down once the purchase of the property is completed. So what you have here is you have a building that has no income. And that's going to be a problem for most lenders, almost all lenders.
Wow.
So we have no lease. We will not be able to provide any type of profit and loss or any type of rent roll that will be able to substantiate that there's ample income coming in from the rental property below to support the loan. So what we're going to go ahead and do is figure out another way to do this for the client that enables them to get into the property. And with rates rising and with them very eager to start their own restaurant business in the lower level, they have looked at this as a viable option to acquire the business. So we are in the process of, well, they've already accepted the terms of the loan, and we're in the process of ordering the appraisal, and our goal is to close this deal in the next 3 weeks. So I'm super excited, and I think the client actually has a second deal here for $15 million that they want to develop some land that comes in right after this. So I'm just really excited about helping this client out. And funny thing is that this all transpired by me putting out a little bit of information on social media saying, hey, if you have any deals that you're struggling with, or you have something that you're not sure is going to be able to go, or you can't find the right lender, like let's talk shop a little bit. Let's put our heads together and figure out what resources that I might be able to put in front of you to help you out and close your deal.
Very nice. So I mean, this is a real scenario that you encountered, right? And it's all because you put this information out there and somebody came across it not knowing that there was this option, right? Because it sounds like they've already exhausted their traditional means by going to the different banks for business and commercial lending, and they got turned down multiple times. So with those partners that are out there, who who would be some great partners for you to explain what you can do that they cannot? So then that way those individuals can retain those clients that they've built long-term relationships with.
I mean, quite frankly, most people in the financial business side of things is going to be helpful. But I love talking to mortgage brokers. Mortgage broker was how I got that deal. So when you think about that, they shopped all the banks. Okay. And after they did that, they went to a broker, and the broker's been shopping with all the other brokers he knows, like hundreds and hundreds of brokers who
Wow.
know other people. It's like a big fan. So guess what? He's probably pushed this out to hundreds and hundreds of people. Somehow it just do whatever it is. It came my way. But mortgage brokers are great. Commercial real estate brokers, residential real estate agents, and what else? CPAs are also great. So anybody that's on the side where they're hearing somebody's trying to finance something, or trying to move up into another deal, or trying to move something around, or trying to get cash to do something else, we do everything based on real estate. So we don't do we won't collateralize like an investment account, but we will take real estate. And the great thing too is that you need to know is that we will use multiple properties to do so. So if we need 40,000 here and 30,000 there, or whatever, we'll just take a blanket loan till we close the deal, finish off the project, and then we remove everything. But getting back to your stuff, anybody that has direct contact with a client and they're seeing an opportunity, they're running sideways, they're not sure how to get the cash, they're seeing all these weird things, and they know, hey, walking into a Bank of America, walking in to a Wells Fargo, they're gonna laugh at me. They're gonna laugh at me. And for instance, cannabis. I mean, everybody knows you can't bank at a bank if you're a
That's
cannabis business.
huge. And that's
Okay,
only
but
going to
guess what?
continue to grow,
You
right?
can't bank with me, but guess what? You want to start running bank money, or excuse me, you want to start running economy money through and use that. Well, guess what? If you want to finance property and you're in the cannabis business, or you have property and you want to leverage your property to get capital to do your next project, I'm the guy. I can do that. As long as state laws allow them to do that within that state, we'll obtain the financing to do so. So I think the excitement is that, hey, there's you have a plan B, or you have a plan C now. You can always go to HML Investments and Jerry Rivera. And hey, maybe I can't do it, but if anything, I can educate you. I can get the client back on the right page, and whether it be the broker, CPA, agent, I mean, it adds a little bit of credibility, and it helps their client decide whether they want to continue moving forward with this deal, or cut it and look at another one. So I'm here to provide, I want to provide value. I want to be a resource.
I think you actually bring up a really good industry that could make a really good Q&A or segment which is the cannabis industry, right? I mean, I remember when I was in banking, and this was probably my third year in, and this is when cannabis started to become legal in California, one of maybe three states at the time. And people would come in and in the Bay Area where they're looking to either open up a business bank account, and a lot of them knew that they were getting pushback from other banks. So immediately they would say, "Oh, well, yeah, so this is for, it's for a business," and it just a roundabout way of discussing it. And then when I ask them the hard question, like, yeah, it's for cannabis, it's for a dispensary, it's a medical dispensary, right? So it's not just a weed shop that you can go into and buy weed. They actually had to have a medical cannabis card. But the industry is not going away. More and more states every year are legalizing cannabis, even though federally it's still, an illegal drug. Um, but the lending world is where a lot of these business owners have hit a brick wall. I mean, it's
Well, they run
just
into two problems. They run into, where am I going to put my money and how am I going to capitalize this business?
exactly.
So now you have a pool outside of normal institutional banking of people, whether they're the Wall Street guys that created a fund or we create a fund, and that money is parked there specifically for these types of transactions. So I think it's a beautiful thing. And again, this is where people can really understand why private money belongs where it belongs, and people really can understand why it has to be what it has to be. People are loaning their money out to cannabis. Okay, something that again is technically federally regulated and considered still an illegal substance, and folks are still able to lend it because at the state level it is legal. So there's a cost of business for that, but there's so much money in industries like cannabis or real estate where this again is a small piece of that pie. It costs them a little bit of money, but in the overall picture, the guys are really making money. So yeah, cannabis is great. We love doing them. And if guys would like to learn more about what we do, yeah, just shoot me an email or send me a text, and I'd love to explore some of the things that they're thinking about doing.
Well, you really have this way of predicting the next thing I'm going to say. So as we land the plane here, I was going to ask, where can people find you?
Well, just like anybody else, I'm a slave to the cell phone. So people can always call me. I can leave the cell. I'll give you my cell phone number now, or Ryan
Oh,
can
well,
go ahead
we'll
and put it up.
we'll probably put it in the comments.
But yeah,
But can I?
always easy to
What about on
text me. I'm
socials?
always available by text and of course email. So I'm as easy as a phone or text away, and I generally I try to get back to people within an hour to 2 hours, and then we can figure something out. If not, we'll reach out and schedule something. But I'm always available to you and your clients.
Sure. And where can they find you on social media?
Well, I am on LinkedIn, so easy to find me on LinkedIn, and Brian will provide that information. I'm still working on some of my additional social media stuff, so look out for more of that. I have a website coming on board, but we do also have the main website for HML, and it's hmlinvestments.com. You can find a lot of information on some of our programs, and always reach me there as well.
Awesome. Well, Jerry, I really appreciate your time this morning and educating, lots of people out there that there are more options if you have come across your, traditional bank and lending. In order to make what you're looking for, your goals come true, right? And Jerry is your guy. He's been doing this for a very long time. So I'm super excited that you're here today. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I'll put a link in the description to all of your information.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, and appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks for having me. I think this is a really, really great thing that you're doing. Um, Not so often that we're able to do this and bring a lot of different people from the industry together, and not just talk and say, hey, we know business and we've known each other for a long time, but really delve deep in stuff that maybe isn't your normal conversation. I mean, we have a lot of conversations, but how often do we ever get to talk about how do we get privatized financing for things? I mean, it's never a conversation that you ever get to hear. So thank you for making this happen for everybody. Good to
Never
see you.
comes up. I really feel like more people need to know. So that's why we're doing this.